Good morning and welcome. This is chapel on the last day of classes, and so it is also the last chapel, regular chapel of this academic year. Somehow we have already made it to this milestone. Friends, as we gather, know that you are welcome here. Whoever you are, whoever you know yourself to be, whoever you are becoming. A quick note, we had technical difficulties on Wednesday, so apologies to anybody who tried to join us on live stream earlier this week. We're very glad that we were able to be with you today. I have a couple reminders about final things as we close out the semester, so I'll run through these as briefly as I can. You are all invited, if you are around, to join us here in the CFL this Sunday morning for our closing celebration worship service, 10 a.m. worship in the CFL, ice cream fellowship to follow. And as we build up to that, you are invited to add your joys and celebrations to the banners that we have here in the CFL, and there are a couple in the Union lobby. So whatever it is that you are celebrating this year, add it to the list. We want to see it and we want to celebrate it with you. But yes, join us Sunday for worship, 10 o'clock here in the CFL. Next week during finals, we will have the Labyrinth available in the recital hall in the back of this building if you feel like you need an opportunity to reflect, pray, meditate, center yourself during finals week. So that will be set up. You are invited to use that as you need it. And then finally, an announcement for all who will be around for commencement weekend. You are encouraged to join us in blessing and sending our seniors during baccalaureate worship, which is a week from tomorrow, so Saturday the 18th at 8 p.m., again here in the CFL, and all are welcome to that. You'll need a red hymnal for today's opening hymn, which you can grab from the hymn rack, or you can share with a friend, or if folks need one, feel free. We are mobile, can move stuff around. And we are so grateful for all of our chapel participants today. We welcome Emerita Faculty Nancy Berry as our chapel speaker. We are so grateful for Ryan Holt, our student who played our fantastic organ prelude this morning, and Norse Corps, who we will hear later on in our service. Thank you for sharing your gifts today. And speaking of sharing gifts, I want to say a word of gratitude today to all the students, staff, faculty, and guests this year who have made it such a beautiful and diverse and rich year of chapel. Those who have served as speakers and as musicians, collaborators, co-conspirators. I especially want to say a word of thanks to Mandy Severenson, program coordinator in our office, Alex Meszler, our college organist, Maddie Snyder, our church music intern this year, and our student worship assistants, Gabrielle Jansen, Molly Matan, Ethan Kunka, and Bo Cornwell. It takes a team to make chapel happen, and I could not ask for a better one. In this spirit of gratitude and blessing, I now invite you to stand as you are comfortable and able as we prepare our hearts to continue our time of praise and worship and reflection. As we begin, I invite you to take some slow, deep breaths with each one to let your body relax more deeply. Whatever the anxieties that you have rightfully carried into this place, give you permission for this moment to set them down. Take comfort in the strength and support of the earth beneath you, the community beside you, and the presence of the Spirit within you. God of imagination, source of all hope, teach us again to love as you have first loved us, to serve as you have served, to dream as widely as you dream. Empower us by your Spirit to join you in creating a world where justice, kindness, and humility guide us in all of our days and all of our deeds toward a world of perfect peace in you. Amen. Our opening hymn this morning is number 858 in your hymnal, Praise to the Lord, number 858.
Please be seated. "50 years ago, almost to the day, I was finishing the spring semester of my own first year at college. 50 years ago. I was not very happily enrolled in a course known, with neither affection nor respect, as baby bio, designed for all the non-science majors like myself who were just trying to get the requirement out of the way. Our lab component that spring semester contained an extended dissection unit of a fetal pig, and I hated that project. The smell of formaldehyde made me sick. My lab partner named her pig after her younger brother. And I sat through every lab hour with my teeth clenched. I was the definition of a recalcitrant student. As we neared the end of the unit, one particular Thursday afternoon, we were instructed to dissect the brain of this creature. And for some reason, my hands were at peace with the work of science that day. Because in order to get to the brain, you had to remove, very carefully, the skull. Piece by piece, slowly and thoughtfully, I chipped away at the skull membrane, careful not to damage any of the tissue beneath it. And when I finished, I saw revealed in immaculate totality a brain. It may have been a pig's brain, but it was still the first and only brain I had ever held in the palm of my hand. I could see the pituitary gland and the hypothalamus, and the two hemispheres fully intact. It was the only time during the entire 2 semesters of lab that the instructor lifted up my work to demonstrate a successful dissection. And I was not so much proud as I was mesmerized by the clarity that my clumsy hands had revealed. The brain of a once living mammal. You could map the intricate blood vessels, that the right and the left hemispheres were separated by a deep groove, and one side that seemed ever so slightly larger than the other. Now, you might be imagining that my experience that day converted me from being an English major to a biology student. But this story is about science, not miracles. And that momentary epiphany wasn't that persuasive. But it did wake me up, totally. Between my hands and my own brain, I was at home with science that day, and it was one of those moments that stands still in my memory. 50 years worth, because I saw so clearly what it meant to learn something, to see something I had never experienced before. I'm telling you this story today because I invite you to think about a similar moment that you've had during this school year, or a lifetime of them. A moment when you were literally or figuratively woken up by something that you read, something that you wrote, something that you dissected, literally or figuratively. For those of you here who are first-year students, especially the choir that will sing for us in a few minutes, I tell you this story to ask you, when have you been awakened, surprised, startled into knowing something you never thought about before? What, 50 years from now, will you remember as a singular moment for your own brain? For some of you, it may have happened in a choir or band rehearsal, or in a gym, or a meeting of a student organization. A moment where time seemed to stop, and yet everything didn't so much stall as become animated, made alive, quickened because of what your thinking wits could reveal. For some of you, it may have come in an embarrassing or thoughtless mistake, the brain or your voice realizing a second too late what it needed to come up with. For those of you feeling the effect of gaffes like that, I want to tell you something. You will never be a first-year student in college again. It's true, being a first-year student is one of those experiences in life that you will never have to repeat. Next year, when you put those final exams to rest, you will be packing up a year that will never come again. And for those seniors among us, you too will be putting to rest 4 years' worth of writing, lab work, ensemble participation, athletic competitions. And next year, when these first-year students come back as wise fools, and you will be embarking into a new sphere, a new job, retirement, graduate or professional school, the Peace Corps, or a job with a nonprofit. When you are in that place surrounded by people you don't know, it will feel, just for a moment, like you are a first-year student again, bewildered and confused. But you will be able to recognize that feeling, and your brain will say to you, "Oh, I've been through this before, and I got through it just fine." Now, I am not so old that I don't know that all this brain talk might seem to miss the mark of the real reason your heart or soul got woken up by Luther College this year. I know it's because of the friends you've made, especially those who will stay with you for the next 50 years. And Luther College is famous for creating friendships like that. Students who just by chance were paired as roommates or floor mates, and before you know it, are cemented into your life like a fixture. But you know, it's your brain talking to you too, to find someone whose sensibilities match your own, with whom you can laugh at the same jokes, the same stories. A famous poet once said, "There is no friend like an old friend who has shared our morning days. No greeting like his footsteps, no homage like her praise." I know I speak for everyone in this Luther community when I say that we wish you a lifetime of friendships like that, along with these memories of when your brain got it, whatever it was, a moment in which your own brain came alive and saw the world in a wondrous new way. Because once that happens, whether you remember it 50 years or not, it belongs to you, and you alone. No one can take those moments from us, because our brains are wired to embrace them, to pack them in with those dendrites and synapses and make them part of who we are and how we see the world. I left that biology class 50 years ago with great relief, correctly convinced that I would never have to dissect anything ever again. And I laugh when I think that that Thursday has stayed with me as long as it has. The truth is, I was set free by learning that day. I surrendered to the task at hand. I stopped fighting the process. And I was rewarded by something I had never known before, a revelation from a pig's brain to mine. I truly wish you had a storehouse of moments like that during this academic year, and I hope they will never leave you. Whether or not you'll be able to remember them is immaterial. Because once you've felt them, seen them, learned them, especially alongside your friends, they will be with you like your breathing that goes on keeping life in you.
I invite you to stand as we hear these words of blessing for the end of this year. So you know some things. You've also noticed how much there is still to discover. There is no right answer to how you can keep becoming. There is no major or degree or title that can fulfill all of who you are. So instead, delight in the wisdom and those who shared it. Invest in the service and those who need it. Be grateful for the support and those who gave it. You are being sent to speak what is true, to do what is kind, to give what is necessary, so that your knowledge and mystery are alive in the world for all to share. Go now in peace, live with joy. Thanks be to God.